You're listening to Spark TV, where we bring you daily interviews with real women in business at all stages. I'm your host, Danielle Lewis, and I am so grateful to have you here. So good. Louisa, welcome to Spark TV. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. Let's kick off by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name's Louisa, and most people call me Lou. And I'm the co-founder of a brand called Whisper and Thread, and we create intimate apparel with customized embroidered affirmations inside of them. And we're starting a revolution in positive self-talk. And I'm also a leadership and resilience consultant and coach. So I've got two businesses. One's been going for 8 years, and Whisper and Thread has been going for the last, officially launched a couple of months ago, but we've been setting that up for the last year. So my passion is resilience, self-talk, change, dealing with change, leading change, leadership resilience. Those are my passions that I work in. I'm very lucky to be able to do that in both my businesses.
That is so cool. Now, I came across you, well, firstly, because you're a Spark member, but when I read your article about positive self talk, so I want to explore that. What is it? Why is it important? Who needs it in their life?
Well, everybody needs it in their life. So everybody has self-talk, right? So, and I'm sure everybody listening to this would relate to this, especially if you're a woman in business. It's that little voice inside your head that tells you you can do something or you can't do something. Everyone has it. You can't avoid it. We talk to ourselves most of the day. In fact, we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone else. So self-talk is really the thing that fuels you, and it can fuel you or drain you. And it's really surprising how many people have or allow the negative self-talk to run away with them. And I do it too. So I'm not perfect at
Same.
it.
I'm sitting here thinking mine's really mean sometimes.
We're really mean to ourselves.
Yeah,
And,
she's the worst.
we wouldn't talk to our friends like that or our family.
Mm.
I can't imagine ever talking to my daughter in the way that I talk to myself sometimes. And so,
Mm.
but it's such an important thing, because can you imagine if we spoke to other people in the way that we spoke to themselves and then told them, okay, now you also need to thrive and do well and perform and achieve and be resilient and be kind, when all you do is hurl negative comments all day. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of research out there about it and how it has a huge impact on your life and your success. And also there's a little bit of research out there saying a little bit of negative self-talk is okay, a tiny bit, because it can be motivating, but when it becomes extreme, it can be very demotivating and very dangerous for you.
Yeah, and I find it interesting you said the words when you let it run away with you, and I kind of think that almost plays into what you just said. It's when it gets out of control, it is that almost that spiral that happens where you kind of, whether something triggers it, you're having a bad day, or it's just a bad pattern that you're in, it kind of sometimes starts, if you don't get it in check, it does
Mhm.
start to spiral or escalate. And yeah, it can really derail your day, your week,
Yeah,
your life.
for sure. And like it can set you up for a bad day. So, you make a mistake, and so common. People say, oh, that was so stupid. Like, why are you so dumb? Something
Mm.
as simple as that. And then that just puts you in that frame of mind for the rest of the day, where you get frustrated with yourself. And, every time you make another mistake after that, it's another negative comment. So um, if you can switch that self-talk for when you make a mistake or something happens, and reframe it, well, that's okay. I'm just learning. It will be better next time. How it can shift you into a more positive mindset for the rest of the day. Um,
Oh my God,
yeah.
that's so funny because I just thought I'm training someone at the moment. And, when they keep going, oh, I'm sorry, or oh, and I'm like, oh my God, don't even stress. Like, I still am figuring it out. I'm still, and then I'm like, then when you just said that, I was like, why did I say that to myself?
Yeah,
It's so funny.
crazy. So I do resilience coaching, and I'll often tell people, what advice would you give a trusted friend in this position. And then they give the most wonderful advice. And I'm like, okay, well, how about we follow some of your advice? And they go, oh, yeah, okay, it makes complete sense. So, yeah, I just find it bizarre how we train ourselves to not speak to ourselves as kindly as we would to anybody else in our lives. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. It's interesting. Someone once said the phrase to me, like, don't believe everything that your brain thinks. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
just because it's like a thought that comes into your mind doesn't mean that it's reality. And I think this there's such a nice parallel between what we're talking about is, yeah, just because you're having this negative self-talk doesn't mean that it is real, the things that you're saying
yeah.
to yourself, you know?
Yeah, your thoughts aren't facts.
Mm.
Your thoughts aren't facts. It's just a thought. It's just a feeling, and it's not a fact. My husband actually reminds me of that all the time. It's like, is that a fact or is that just you? And I'm like, yeah, okay, and I'll walk away. And I'm like, he's he's really great at shifting my self talk too. He's really good.
I am not teaching my husband that. Oh my God. I love it. That's so good. Do you have any suggestions for, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that goes through the negative self-talk. I'm sure everyone dialing in right now is like, yeah, that's me.
Mhm.
Is there a way or any kind of strategies if you find yourself spiraling into the negative self-talk? Anything that you find helpful to get yourself out of it?
Yeah, I mean the first thing I'd always suggest is you have to understand when it's happening because it's such an automatic
Mm,
response.
yes.
It's not easy just to go, oh, yeah, okay, I'm just going to change that. So you first have to identify when you're doing it. And then you
Mm,
actually have to do some work in terms of, some people find it helpful to write down, like, what is it that I said? What's the actual truth? What evidence do I have against this? And then you work through, and slowly as you work through changing some of the things that you say to yourself or thinking about them more solidly, when it happens again, you go, oh, yeah, that's something that's come up before, and you shift it then. So it's not going to happen just once off, like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to shift my negative self talk now. You have to identify it, name it, say, yep, this is, pick the most common one. You'll find that people have most common ones. It could be,
mm,
um, I'm so dumb. I'm never going to do this. I make so many mistakes. There's ones that you'll say to yourself very often. Identify that one, analyze it, and then pick something that reframes it or shifts it. So again, using that example of, oh, I'm so stupid, I make mistakes all the time, shift it to making mistakes is learning. What have I learned from this? I'll do better next time. And then you land up practicing every time the negative self-talk comes in, countering it with the positive thing. And then as you counter it with the positive thing, the more and more that you do that, eventually you shift the talk. So it's not an overnight thing. It's very much why my sister and I started with Friend Thread, because we wanted to have the words visible to you, and we started it specifically with the view of our daughters. She's got two teenage daughters. I've got a 4-year-old, and we were talking about how, especially with her teenage daughters, how we see already the negative self-talk starts creeping in from such a young
mm.
age. And how as mums we're the ones always encouraging them, and she's like, I don't want to put notes in her lunchbox. I want her to carry around this note with her all day, and
Mm.
so that she believes in herself. And so some people will put the note up on their mirror to shift their self-talk. Some people have a note that they carry with them, something that reminds them. We put it in our underwear because something you wear every day. You can start the day with the positive thing, that's the
Yes.
thing that reminds you, and you put your underwear on. Um, and it just reminds you in that way. So that's my other bit of advice. Find a way to have the phrase that you want to remind yourself for visible to you, so that once you know what your triggers are and the thing that you say to yourself without even thinking, to read it and reaffirm that with yourself to shift that thinking. So yeah, those are two ways you can do it.
So good. I love it so much. So tell me, do you have a fashion slash clothing slash apparel background, or is this brand new?
This is brand new. So my background, up until I started my consulting practice 8 years ago, I before that I was a CEO for another consulting business. I Prior to that, I've worked in community services, in executive roles, in training organizations. So I've always been in service kind of based roles. My space is
Mm.
change management, community resilience space, training. So naturally started Vermello, which is my consulting practice. Been working in that for 8 years, and change management resilience is my passion. And then my sister and I have been talking about this idea, and just so I've got a master's in business. I've got an MBA. I shifted all of my knowledge from that into e-commerce and realized, holy dooly, I know how to run businesses really well, but an e-commerce business is a whole different kettle of fish.
Yes.
And so that's been like learning curve like this. But at the same time, been able to just apply some of my knowledge across and then just think about, okay, I'm not selling a service anymore, I'm selling a product, and what does that look like? And had to find new coaches and mentors, a whole new network of people, because yeah, that's been totally new for me. So it's been quite an adventure. I've really enjoyed it. It's been out of my comfort zone, but I enjoy being out of my comfort zone. So I'm one of those
Wow.
weirdos who likes being out of their comfort zone.
I love it. They say that's where the growth happens. So,
Mhm.
you know, and are
Yeah.
you, and so you've teamed up with your sister. Are
Mhm.
you, or is she doing the sewing, or how's that dynamic working?
My sister lives in Portugal and I live in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I'm running the business here from Australia. I'm the
Yep.
managing director for the business here. Um, you can see the embroidery machine behind me.
Yes, that's
That's
why I was like, are you on the tools? I want to know.
yeah. So the embroidery machine is in my office. You'll also see
Wow.
a computer screen behind me. That's my husband working behind me. So we
Cool.
share an office. Um, we both work from home. My sister lives in Portugal. She's also got her own business over there. So she's more of my sounding board in the creative side, the story building side. The she's the creative energy behind the brand. She's thought up this idea. She leads the color choices, the brand in that regard. And for me, I'm more of the build the business, the
Mm.
sales, the e-com side, um, strategy, social media, marketing, all of that lands on me. So it works quite well in that regard because we kind of play to our strengths in that way, and we don't live together. So it's not like we can just turn around and go, "Hey, what do you think about this?" So, um, you know, we have great informal meetings on WhatsApp, and with our daughters in the background. It's like a family chat, and then every now and again we'll throw in like business talk. It's quite interesting. So that's how we play that. But we're on tools here. My husband will help. Um, if we've got big chunk of orders and we need to send them off. The embroidery machine basically that's plug and play, but he'll help out with doing whatever we need doing. So it's very much a you do what you got to do, to make it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And tell me then, so I mean, coming from being the CEO and executive level consulting, how's that transition been to now, like, oh my God, I have to do everything that needs to be done?
Yeah, I don't regret it at all. I love it. I mean, there are things that I miss about. I mean, I haven't been in the corporate world as such, where I'm working in a business in the corporate world for 8, 9 years. So
Mm.
the transition to Whisper and Thread hasn't been such a. It's just another thing that I do from home. Um, I mean, I have a I've got a 4-year-old daughter. I could not be raising my daughter the way I am now if I was working full time in a role for somebody else.
Mm.
The flexibility that I have is just amazing. And it's funny because I would say I work longer hours in many ways. I mean, you would know when you work on your own business, I work late at
Never
night.
done.
I've never done, right? It's never done. And like, if my daughter goes to bed and I'm up until 11 o'clock at night because I refuse to, when she's home from school or from kindy, I refuse to work while she's home from kindy. I wouldn't be
Mm.
able to do that if I worked for somebody or in my previous roles as executive roles. That those were long hours that I couldn't. could be home. So I'm very
Yeah, I
grateful
love that.
for what I have. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you talk about that flexibility because I think that's I think the missing link with starting your own business sometimes is I think people have a corporate career and they say they want to start their own business to not work the long hours and get away from the 9 to 5 and that type of thing, but then they kind of skew into this, oh my God, I'm working all the time now. But I think it
Yeah.
is that reframe of it's just different. It is actually, no, I get to schedule it. So if it is kids or if it is family, there are carers out there. There's all of these different ways that our lives exist now. Or even there might be a hobby that takes a lot of time, whatever it is for you. That's the amazing thing about starting a business, isn't it? It's like, yeah, like it may not be all in one chunk and it may feel like we probably are working a lot longer, but we can do it in and around our life and have it support our life.
Yeah. And I think there's one added element. And I mean, I was passionate about the work I was doing when I was working in other businesses, but I think when you're passionate and you're building it yourself,
Mm.
it doesn't feel as much as work, because when you're working for somebody else, even as a CEO or you leading organizations, you're still tied down by the rules of what you need to do for those organizations. Where when you've got your own business, you're passionate about it, and the rules are what you make it. Like if you don't want to do
Mm.
this thing, you don't do that thing. Um, and there's that element of freedom and passion that comes around it. So when you are doing the work, it actually doesn't feel like work. It just feels like hours that you're putting towards something that you're trying to grow and make successful. And it's so
Mm.
rewarding. That's wonderful. So um, yeah, it might be longer hours, but there are days where I'll go through, and my husband thinks I'm mad, but I'll go through sometimes a month and a half and I haven't had a day off where I haven't sat
Yeah.
down and done something for work or for business. And he's like, whoa. And I'm like, wow, it's been a month and a half. I probably should have a day off, and then force myself not to
We
do
like to
something
like
for the day.
swing to extremes, I find.
Yeah. But in saying that, it's not like 9, 10 hours straight days, it's like
Exactly. Mm.
get up, take my daughter to school, come back, do a few hours, and she comes home, we'll play a little bit, then she goes to bed, I'll do another couple of hours, and then on the weekends it's like maybe sneak something in the morning, or if she's at swimming, it's like little blocks here and there. And
Yeah.
I never feel like, oh, it's been a 12-hour day, I need a wine. I never feel that. It's, just do what you got to do.
I often feel like I need a wine, but I don't know if it's because of the long days.
Well, I get to Friday and I'll have a whiskey. I'll
Yeah.
be on.
You'll partake, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. That is so good. So what do you think? So thinking about both the consulting business that you've run for the last, almost 9 years, now the
Mhm.
e-commerce business in apparel, what do you think over that time has been some of the bigger challenges that weren't expecting in business?
Oh, um,
All of
one
them?
of the bigger challenges. Like I think for me, the biggest hurdle I've had to overcome actually is believing in myself.
Mm,
And I know it leads to the negative self-talk thing, but it's actually just believing that it's possible.
yes.
I think I've always been really confident in my career and very career driven and very motivated and knowing exactly what my career trajectory was going to be. And then I decided to get off that, a complete change of lifestyle. Um, trying to start a family with my husband. That was challenging for me. I had to go through IVF and all sorts of challenging things. And I had a complete flip in what do I want out of my career? And it's not that ladder. But then
Yeah.
it believing in myself that, yeah, actually, I do have the knowledge and skills and capabilities to make something successful. People do want to buy your services. Initially, that was with Brunello. People do want your advice and your services, like you have good things to share. Um, and then when we started Whisper and Thread, it was it's happened so fast. I can't even tell you how fast it's happened. It's happened so fast that it's been every day I'm like, people actually want to buy this product, like they actually want to buy it. And then every time we make a sale, I'm like, wow, people actually want to buy it, and just believing the idea is good and that, we can pull it off and we can make it happen. That's truly been the biggest challenge, because everything else is, you can learn it. If you don't know it,
Mm.
you can learn it. You can find somebody to teach it to you, get yourself a good coach, a mentor, join a course, do something. You can learn everything. And
Yeah.
especially today with AI and online forums and socials, there's a teacher for everything. So if you don't have the knowledge skills, you can learn it. So really the thing that's going to hold you back is that self-belief, and
Yes.
just going, yep, no, this is good. You just got to put one foot in front of the other, and you will get there.
Oh, you're just spot on. I mean, I know I've had so many conversations with women in business around that self-belief. It's something that I run into a lot with the grant program. Like the people like, is my idea any good? Is my business or my product or service any good? I'm like, yeah, like you've been what the hell? Like people buy from you every day. Like, and I see your brand online and you show up to the calls and all the things. I'm like, that is probably the one thing that always gets me about women in business is that lack of self-belief or lack of feeling enough or good enough. But in saying that, I've been in business for 14 years and I still have that. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where we need to, like you said before, identify what's going on and find our ways and our strategies to overcome it. Because I kind of think it's something that's probably going to stick with us for a while. And we just need to keep reminding ourselves and like I love what you said about find that evidence of no this is evidence to show that that's not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think ever leaves us, unfortunately.
But imposter syndrome, it's,
Yeah.
everybody has it. People who work in businesses, people who run their own businesses, and even the people who you think are the most confident people who you admire and you look up to, 100% know
Yes.
that everybody gets that little bit of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
It's there. And if you
Yeah.
can silence that voice or just ignore it for a bit, and just keep going and don't let that hold you back, you will make it. And it might not look like you expected it to look, but you will make something. Something will
Yes.
come out of it. The opportunities will come.
Oh, that's so good. And you're just so right. Like I think about all of the women I've spoken to, it's never oh, I raised millions of dollars, oh, I
Mhm.
sold out, went viral, I did this, I listed on the stock exchange. Still, no, it doesn't matter. They're still like, I don't know, I wake up every morning in a cold sweat thinking, can I do it? It's just
Yes.
wild.
Also, you always like the next thing. So, like, making the first sale,
Yes.
like 20 people bought the product or first sale, and I'm like, oh no, it's not good enough because they're people we know. Okay, then the next 10 people came along and they're people we sort of know. I'm like, no, still not good enough,
Still not
because
good
they're
enough.
being, like, they're being nice, because they're our friends, or they're being nice. And then like people who've been following us on socials and I don't know them, but then I'm like, oh, it's because they've been on socials for a year and they finally bought. It's never good enough. Like you never believe in yourself when you're getting all the evidence that actually,
Oh.
no, people want what you have,
Oh my God. I know. I've been
so
like
crazy. Even talking it
playing
out
with
loud is like, what?
I know. I'm laughing because it's like I've had this moment this week where I said I did something and I told my husband, then I was like, but I don't know, it's rare, so I don't think. He's like, what is wrong with you? Like, you still did it. Like it happened. You can't
Yeah,
like downplay that. And I was like, oh yeah. So
yeah,
I get it. We always find a way to diminish our achievements somehow.
yeah, it's crazy.
Totally. Oh my God, I could talk to you all day, but I always love to wrap up these podcasts with one last piece of advice. So,
Mhm.
reflecting on your time in business, in multiple businesses, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to another woman on her business journey?
Just start. Just start it. If you've got this burning desire or idea inside you, don't wait for it to be perfect. Just start it. That's what my sister and I did with Whisper and Thread. Vermello started because I was sort of like forced into this situation. That's a story for another day, but I just had to start it. I had no choice. It was like, do this, or that's it. Like, just go. And sometimes it's a good thing that if you like have no choice and you just do it because just you make it happen. So pretend like you have no choice. Pretend like you have no choice and just go. because if you just make that decision, just make a decision every day. It doesn't have to be perfect. Imperfect decisions are fine too, because you can always fix something. And that's where you make the progress, is just make a decision today, execute the thing, and tomorrow you've got one more thing that you didn't have the day before. And truly, a year later, you'll look back and go, wow, like, look at all the things I did. Um, that's it. And then, always build people around you that can support you with that. I feel like a no-brainer, and everybody says that, but it's so true. Find the support and the knowledge that you need around you, because they're going to be the people who cheerlead you and talk to you when you say, can I do this? Is this real? Is this something that you would buy? And they're going to be like, yeah, like, you get those people around you.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely incredible, Louisa. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for
Thank you
sharing
so
your
much.
time and your story and your wisdom with us.
Oh,
Absolutely incredible. Thank you.
thank you.
That wraps another episode of Spark TV. Shout out to Spark TV sponsor IP Australia for their amazing support of the Spark podcast and women in business. And if no one tells you today, you've got this.